A brand new week, a whole new Speedway conversation. We've reached episode 30. Welcome back to 360 Speedway. Welcome, greetings and salutations everyone. Thank you very much for looking back into the 360 HQ and joining us for, remarkably, episode 30. That's quite remarkable as we gear up for some more highly enjoyable, that's certainly the aim, Speedway discussion. Let's get started then by introducing, as we're prone to do, this week's lineup of Speedway punditry excellence. So first up, I was reading that he has a signed and sealed contract already for 2026. One of the lucky ones to join the one he already has for 360 Speedway, of course. Welcome back behind the 360 mic even. It's Simon Lambert. Hello to you, Simon.
Evening, Derek. You're all right, mate?
Not too bad, thanks, Simon. Next up, 360 Speedway's newest recruit and already a big hit with the 360 viewership and listenership. It's the deep-thinking man of many clubs. Welcome back to 360. It's Dean Felton. Hey, Dean.
Evening, everybody. Evening, Derek.
And completing this week's lineup for episode 30, Sunderland's finest Speedway export, the man who invented the salad cream sandwich. It's absolutely true. Who else but Stuart Robson. Hey, Robbo.
Evening, everybody.
Collectively, this week's handlebar heroes. Usual disclaimer applies that all of the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of us as individuals and bear no resemblance to any club, past or current, that we have any affiliation or association to. Something like that. Different words are used every week. Collectively, this week's handlebar heroes. Okay then, here we go. If you're ready, let's begin with Fans Pulse Lap 1. We're delighted to kick off this episode with another interview. The 2025 season is now well and truly behind us, resigned to the Speedway history books. All those what-ifs will have been processed and the thinking has very much turned to 2026. Oh yes, it has. We are super stoked to be joined by a man who will certainly have learned a heck of a lot over the course of the past season. Owner, promoter of the resurgent Workington Comets. Welcome to 360 Speedway, Mr. Andrew BAIN. Good evening, Andrew.
Good evening, all.
Thanks for giving us some time, Andrew, to talk Speedway and with a bit of a Comets flavour to it as well, Andrew. So listen, first things first, I wonder if you wouldn't mind just to kick us off by reminding us of your origins and your involvement within Speedway. When and where did it all start for you, Andrew?
It started back in 1990 when working came back. I'd done a lot of motocross and that, and motorbike enthusiast. And when he came back in 1990, started watching it.
So back to the happy Derwent Park days, Andrew.
Yeah, happy Derwent Park when the terraces were flooded with fans.
Absolutely,
great.
Yeah, so you've been there and you've seen it and you've enjoyed some of the good times around the Comets scene. To most supporters watching and listening, Andrew, they'll generally be aware that you became committed to resurrecting the Comets, who had joined the ranks of the many resting Speedway clubs that we have around the UK at the end of that highly successful, on track at least, 2018 season. Which led to you commencing some very ambitious modifications to the former Northside training circuit. And in 2023, the new look Comets, the new look track, the new look stadium was relaunched with a season in NDL. At that point, Andrew, just to reach that stage where you had created this magnificent venue and track, that alone must have felt like you'd literally moved mountains, Andrew, even just to get to that stage.
Yeah, there was a lot of hard work and involvement. We had a lot of good volunteers around us. What we've done in a couple of weekends, nights, and that, and off businesses helping out, and yeah, it was amazing what we've done.
A real team effort. I personally, Andrew, a bit of a confession, I haven't yet been there in person, but obviously I've seen lots of photographs and video of some of the races, and it does look a magnificent creation that you and Steve Lawson, and Steve Lawson's my childhood hero, so I had to give him a mention, Andrew, and the rest of the team managed to pull together. In many circles, Andrew, what you guys have created at Workington must surely be the template for returning clubs or new clubs who might in future years come into the sport. Would you agree with that? Yeah,
definitely. It's the structure we've done around the place. It just shows what can be done. It's the facility is getting better. When we started, it was going to be a 10-year project, and we just keep on adding on.
Absolutely. It's one of those racetracks, Andrew, and again, I've not seen it in person, but I've seen plenty of action via courtesy of BSN, etc. And it's a track which definitely offers riders plenty of options in terms of racing lines and building up speed and all that good stuff. And Simon and Dean, who are on the other end of the line, have both been on your track, and I'll invite them in a second just to comment on it. But tell us in your own words, Andrew, based on what you've seen with your own eyes, about the track and the quality of racing that you've seen this year.
The track provides brilliant racing, provides loads of lines, and 4 riders wide going into a corner. Sometimes you can chuck a sheet over them coming over the finish line. It's unbelievable. We hosted the under-19s, was our last meeting, and the racing was unbelievable. It was probably one of our best meetings of the season.
Simon Lambert, I'm going to bring you in at this moment. Tell us, Simon, you've done many laps around that new circuit, Simon. Tell us from a rider's perspective just how nice it is and how enjoyable it is.
Mate, I salute you. Take me out of here, Andrew. What you and your team have done. You got it up and running. You got Workington back on the map. And the thing I like the most, it's a bit like, I remember going to Somerset when it started. It got better every time you went. You can see year on year you've not just let the grass grow and settle. You keep trimming it back and adding more and making it that little bit better. So fair play to you. I mean, from a track wise, other than gate 4, it's unbelievable. It's a long way from 4, but I think it's a bit like Bellevue, it's a bit, you can go win one race, you can be dead last the next, but you think you're wide and you get somebody pass you up the inside and you're only mid-track. It's phenomenal, the whole venue, the facilities, everything is phenomenal. The people, obviously, I've ridden for you, and yeah, I've got nothing but respect for you, mate, because you're a brave man doing it, and yeah, I wish you every success with it, mate. I really do. It's a pleasure to come and race there.
Right.
Thank you.
Some lovely words, Lamb. Dean, I know you've had a number of track days at that circuit as well. What's your views, Dean? You've ridden many tracks over a long career, Dean. Tell us about that new Workington circuit.
Yeah, I've been twice, and Andrew, I remember it's the first time it was rained off. Got all the way there and it was rained off, and the second time it absolutely belted down like a monsoon all night. And then we had, just on the Sunday, they had to like the first 5 foot of the inside couldn't use it because it was just mud, but the track was still wide enough to like hold that amateur meeting on. It was pretty good. I liked it. It's just I didn't have a chance to go like round the outside because I haven't got the energy these days for that, but I got around pretty good, and I quite enjoyed it on Millprice. I loved it, and I love the place. To me, it's the model that all speedways should follow, because we haven't got the money to build Bellevues, but the Workington model, yes, it costs a lot of money, but I think it's within Speedway's grasp. I just love the place. Fabulous.
Must be lovely, Andrew, to hear some rider feedback like that, and I'm sure you receive more besides week on week right through the season, Andrew.
Yeah, we get a lot of good feedback. all the riders, most of the riders love the place, you know. Good wide big track and they can race.
Is it one of
Proper
those
races
circuits,
track.
Andrew, where the home side doesn't especially have significant home track advantage, or is that a nonsense?
No, we haven't, to be honest. We've got none, really. It's a really fair racetrack. You know, just like 3/4 of the meeting, the inside works again, comes back, and, you know, it's fair for every rider.
Andrew, just to help support our understanding around this, so I mentioned when the Comets, when you brought the Comets back in 2023, that was an NDL team that you entered, and you raced that first season at NDL level, and then 2024 and last season you were elevated, hopefully willingly and happily, into the championship standard. Can you help us understand the gulf or the how significant that step is from NDL into championship?
Yeah, it's totally massive step, you know. It is. There's twice as much work to do go from National League to Championship. You've got your visas and there's just loads to do. Loads, totally different how you run the club. And yeah, this last 2 years, I've learnt a lot.
You've learnt a lot. So you've started your book, Andrew, have you? Started your memoirs as a Speedway promoter?
Yeah, definitely.
And listen, you know, life like that, Andrew, right? You know, we all learn through the experience of life and work, and I guess Speedway as well. And you know, hopefully, Andrew, any learnings that you've had this year has all been positive, and it hasn't dented your confidence or your enthusiasm to keep developing the Comets.
Oh, definitely not. I'm striving. I just want to go forward and make a good facility for everyone to come to.
Rob, I didn't want to leave you out, Stuart. I'm pretty sure you mentioned before that you haven't ever been on a bike around the new track at Workington, but you have commented on it before. I know you, like me, you've seen it outside looking in, and you've been quite impressed as well, Rob.
Yeah. I hear nothing but good about the place. I don't think I've heard anything bad as far as the track goes, and especially anyhow. It's just all praise for the place, you know. And you got to take my hat off to you guys for bringing it back. Like Lambo said, you know, I wish you every success in what you do, because it's a massive commitment and it's a lot of money and a lot of time and effort that goes into it. And you know, hopefully it'll come good for you guys, you know, and it'll stay good. So yeah, I'd like to go up and see the place, but it's just a long way from where I live to get there, and especially from where I work. I've got an extra 100 miles south from where I work as well. So I know it's like from where I'm at now, it's probably like a 6 or 7 hour journey each way. But I'll get up there one day to see it and see it for myself and come and have a look. It'd be nice, maybe if I ever do any more laps, maybe it's one of the tracks I do a few laps on from what I'm hearing about it.
You definitely like it, Robbo.
Yeah. It looks good. It looks good in pictures and videos I've seen. Yeah. And like I say, I hear nothing but good about it. Everything is positive about the whole place. So it's, it'd be good to see it.
I mean, Speedway's like that, Andrew, isn't it? You know, what gets around, supporters, riders, you know, that you quickly detect, favourable comments from less favourable, and everything I've ever heard about Workington and the setup and the track has been super positive. So I'm going to pledge live on 360 Speedway that I will make my new Workington Speedway debut in 2026. I'll definitely make my way down there, Andrew. If you are enjoying this discussion, watching on YouTube or indeed listening on Spotify or on another podcast service, please do hit the thumbs up right now. Hit that thumbs up, a small but very powerful action to help out the 360 channel. Do it for Andrew. Andrew, you mentioned about you've learned and you continue to learn year on year. Do you now feel at championship level that you're well into your stride and you kind of acclimatise and maybe can anticipate some of the peaks and troughs that are associated to operating at that level?
Yeah, you learn things every day. Still, no matter how long you've been at it, but just take everything in our stride and just keep going forward.
if you don't mind me mentioning, or at least just touching on it, Andrew, there were some well chronicled issues mid-season at Workington, and I know, even though I don't know the detail of it, that must, it's easy to conclude that must have given you a bit of a headache for a number of weeks. And obviously everything was satisfactorily resolved, and you then pressed resume on the season. But is it fair to say, Andrew, that leaving that aside, just focusing on the on-track results of 2025, that the season was perhaps a little disappointing compared to the previous season, where the Comets had managed to sneak into the playoffs and just had performed much better generally?
Yeah, we had our ups and downs all season. We won the two top leagues. We won Poole at home and won Glasgow at home. And last heat deciders away with both teams. Then we go to the lower teams and we'll be getting beat. It's one of them things. Sometimes the riders click and sometimes they don't,
I'm going to ask that. It's the eternal. What's the word? I can't remember what the word is. It's the eternal chase or pursuit of speedway promoters, isn't it? To piece together the jigsaw of a speedway team with experienced riders, inexperienced riders, and sprinkle in some of that X factor, and suddenly the team just reacts, and you have a stonking, an outstanding speedway season. It's a difficult thing to emulate year on year. Never mind get the recipe correct in the first place, Andrew.
Yeah, it's hard to get the recipe right. It's like I say, you could have a couple of riders firing on the night and a couple not, and that determines the result of a meeting.
I'm just thinking about, I'm trying to mentally compare the team that you pieced together in 2024 versus 2025. I think I'm probably right in suggesting that in 2024 you had more unknown quantities in that side, which obviously performed better and reached the playoffs, and you had more known quantities in the season that's just ended. I mean, can you even begin to put your finger on quite why there was such a difference between both seasons?
No, we had I don't really, to be honest. It's hard to put the finger on it. It is. We had riders that were good at home and not as good away this season. And I think whereas 2024 we had a lot of good riders with a lot of knowledge, a lot of older heads that were good home and away.
Well, what about off track, Andrew? If you don't mind me asking, you mentioned yourself, you're back in the happy days of Derwent Park. The crowds at various stages were super impressive. I can remember the most impressive regular travelling support to Glasgow from Workington in the sort of early noughties or thereabouts, the Stony days. And and obviously things then things go full circle, and life gets in the way, I guess, sometimes, and the crowd dynamic changes and the profile changes, and obviously that all culminated in 2018 with crowds not supporting in the numbers that were required to make the business viable. But did you feel like you're kind of bedding in and recreating people's consciousness about Speedway being back in Workington? Are you still in that phase of trying to kind of actively promote and grow your crowds, Andrew?
Yeah, we're trying all sorts new. We're letting kids in for free, kids races, and we're just going, we're trying to get the word out more. We do a lot more on TV, radios, flyers out, and giving kids free vouchers out and stuff. There's really, there's a lot goes on behind what people see with promoters. There's a lot of work to do to get the fans in.
Yeah. Off track, Andrew. I mean, are you quite an ambitious individual outside of Speedway as well? I mean, obviously you're involved in business, etc. I mean, are you naturally ambitious and type of person? And do you have some specific ambitions or objectives with Workington? Where would you like to take the club, I guess, ultimately?
Well, I would like, in years to come, it'd be nice to get a qualifier, world qualifier or something, an FIM meeting, just see how far we can take it.
Just remind me, is the track FIM homologated now, or is that not taking place?
Yeah, we've just got an inspection. All the tracks built at FIM, all the fences. We've got a new air fence there. It's at FIM, and yeah, we've just done the refs box and that. So yeah, we're just waiting for an inspection and see what happens.
Well, that just cements and answers my question perfectly, Andrew. So that just illustrates how ambitious you are and Workington Comets are to develop and grow the product and within Cumbria, within the northwest. Andrew, I'm going to ask you a question. So here we are, mid-November. We now know, perhaps informally, if I'm honest, but we now know that the AGM hasn't yet taken place. I just wanted to ask you, Andrew. I'm not looking for any information that you might be uncomfortable to share with us. But generally speaking, Andrew, I mean, how well recognised is it that the British Speedway supporters of every club all around the country, the length and breadth of the UK, we're quite concerned. We're quite concerned that this winter feels a little bit more fragile, a little bit more nervy, a little bit more of a pinch point than any other close season in my lifetime, really. And I guess my question, Andrew, is how conscious are you and the other speedway promoters that supporters around the country are quite nervous about the current state, the current status even of British Speedway?
Well, I know that there's a lot of worry, a lot of talks, but until January 6th, we'll find out what's going to happen, really.
And I mean, again, I'm trying not to ask detailed questions, Andrew, but do you as an individual, does Workington Speedway feel quite comfortable with how things are positioned right here, right now, as we have this conversation, or are you dependent on certain things falling into place to give you that assuredness and that level of comfort?
Oh, we're quite confident. We set, what we set out, and we're building a team, and we're almost complete, and that. So yeah, we're quite confident.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Andrew, when this podcast is published on Friday, then on Friday night, tonight, as people might know when they watch this, the Comets are due to announce their first rider for 2026. I mean, without identifying riders, obviously, what's your message to Comets fans about the look and the feel of the lineup that you're going to announce for next season?
Yeah, the lineup, I'm trying to put an exciting team together. A couple of strong heat leaders and some old heads, and just fill the team from there,
If I had to write you a contract right now, Andrew, and on that contract there was to be two things that I would guarantee Workington's Comets would achieve in 2026. Can you off the top of your head identify the two things that you would most want to achieve and that would make you sign a contract right now to guarantee them? What would those things be?
To achieve. Well, if I was the rider and you was, would like to get the team into the playoffs. Would.
Yeah. So you want to emulate what you achieved in 2024, but presumably go a bit further, right?
Yeah, hopefully get into a couple of finals, So yeah, definitely.
Good. Stay with us. No need to go anywhere or do anything. Make sure you watch Fans Pulse Lap 2, which is coming up shortly. It will auto start in just a few seconds. We will be discussing even rider safety and equalisation. Andrew Bain, many thanks indeed for making some time to talk to us here on 360 Speedway. We only wish you and everyone associated with Workington Comets the very best and all success for 2026. We hope everything works out the way that you will dream about it, Andrew, no doubt, as we lead in towards the new season. And we hope that the Comets simply go from strength to strength.
No, thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.